I'm reacting to your Saturday night's main event hot takes. Hot takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you follow me on X because I ask for your hot take after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every WWE premium live event. And yes, I'm aware Saturday night's main event isn't a premium live event, but whatever, we're still doing it. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're gonna fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. I have 3 more days left of my vacation, and then that way you guys can stop the Santi has been kidnapped by the cartel jokes, and I'll be back safe and sound, and the jokes can stop, okay? By the way, if you want even more daily wrestling content, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Santi's app. Over there, you get videos that never get uploaded to YouTube on a daily, regular basis. Patreon.com/Santi's app. Link in the description, link in the pinned comment. Let's read your stupid shit. The show was extremely filler, and it kind of gave it that vibe for future ones in 2025. It was super rushed because of the 2-hour limit plus commercials, and nothing important happened. Okay, so I will agree with you on the fact that the show felt rushed, and I was kind of saying as much leading into the lead up to Saturday night's main event. I said that a 2-hour show with commercials plus 5 premium live event worthy matches, that's gonna be a really tight window. And I think that we ended up being correct because they had to cut out backstage segments. There weren't any promos. Matches did have to get through the motions quicker than they would at a premium live event. That being said, it wasn't a premium live event, so this should have been expected. And even though it was expected, I was still a little bit let down by that. However, I highly disagree with you saying that nothing important happened. That is such a ridiculous stretch. And I'm not just going to pick on you here, okay? I'm picking on myself and wrestling fans in general. Holy shit, we are spoiled. The only way that we are able to enjoy a show or say that the show was worth watching is if like monumental returns happen, if like the most shocking thing imaginable happens, if title changes happen. What happened to just having a good wrestling show? It was a good wrestling show that sure didn't move the needle like a WrestleMania 40 or a SummerSlam, but absolutely important things happened. Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes, the culmination of a feud that was a month and a half long. We have a newly crowned United States Women's Champion. Like, things happened on this show, but people are so blinded by the fact that this wasn't some monumental show that changes the landscape of professional wrestling in general. You know what it is? We're spoiled wrestling brats because wrestling is good now, and we've gotten these insane premium live event shows that have fundamentally ground broke professional wrestling. However, if you've watched wrestling in the 2010s, you know what bad wrestling is. You know what bad wrestling shows are. And this absolutely was not one of those bad wrestling shows where nothing important happened. We're spoiled wrestling fans. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that. The event was good, but I feel like the matches could have been more fleshed out with 1 more extra hour. It felt rushed, but good for the time that they were given. I gotta be honest with you, this is like the most obvious thing you could possibly say. Obviously, the show would have been better with an extra hour. That's what premium live events are. This wasn't a premium live event. It was a 2-hour show with commercials that was advertised as such. This was made for TV. So if your expectations were that we were going to get something akin in terms of the similar pacing of a 3-hour show without commercials, and you're disappointed that it didn't meet those expectations, you're the one at fault here. You set your expectations ridiculously way too high. I feel like the way to make this better in the future, because I do still agree that the matches were rushed and the show in general just sort of felt like it had to go bang, 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 bang from one thing to the other without allowing for a more traditional wrestling show to truly flourish. I think the way you fix this is just 4 matches, 3 matches. It's kind of crazy that this show has 5 matches and a whole bunch of PLEs this year couldn't even crack 4. Okay, so the fix here is less matches for the future of Saturday night's main event. That's how I see it. All I gotta say is deserved. And all I have to say is you're right. My goodness, this was so deserved for Chelsea Green. However, this was one of those unique scenarios, those rare scenarios where fans are in a win-win position competition regardless of who wins. Because I also would have said deserved had Michin been the one to win the Women's United States Championship, because both Chelsea Green and Michin had fantastic 2024s. They are going to be in contention for Superstars of the Year. They were excellent for the majority of 2024, as both character workers and as in-ring performers. And it was just great to see the culmination of their work lead to a final specifically between these two. The two people that people wanted to see fight it out for this championship. And I'm just happy that it was one of these two. I'm a little extra happy that it's Chelsea Green because I love Chelsea Green a little bit more, but either one of the two would have been a great inaugural champion. Wrestling fans can't be happy with a good show. Everything about this was awesome. We don't need any special returns at every PLE. Great booking, Triple H. I think the show was good. Like, I don't think that it was awesome. I don't think that it was amazing. I don't think that it's going to be one of those shows that you talk about for years and years and years to come, but I think it was a very serviceable, special show that I just think people ruined for themselves with the ridiculously high expectations that they tend to have for premium live event shows, even though they knew that this wasn't a premium live event show. People set themselves up for disappointment, and they went into this setting themselves up for disappointment, and they walked out of it disappointed. And that's pretty logical for it to go that way. Unfortunately, I just think that this is how wrestling fans are in general. It's just how they're wired, it seems. Personally, I love Io versus Liv. It was short and sweet. The two had excellent chemistry together, and as an Io Glazer, I love the way that Liv won clean. Liv mustered up some courage and stood boldly with Mommy instead of running away. Great character growth. Yeah, I just kind of wish that we've gotten more of this character growth. I'm also a giant Glazer of Io Sky. I think that she's amazing. She's my favorite on the main roster. And I too was happy that Liv Morgan finally won clean. This was Liv Morgan's best match and best title defense since she's won this title. And she needed more of these. It's just a testament of how much she's been shackled to this Rhea Ripley feud where we've all only seen Liv and Rhea. When we could have been getting good matches like what we got at Saturday night's main event this entire time that Liv Morgan has been champion. And it's a shame that we've kind of been robbed of that, and getting that taste of what this championship reign could have been for Liv Morgan at Saturday night's main event makes me a little bit sad, because she could have been having so many great matches in the women's mid-card, upper card, elevating the women's division alongside like supplementing and making her championship reign that much better. Disappointed that we didn't see any surprise returns or legends appearances besides Pat McAfee. I mean, I was expecting some of that. I feel like that's a perfect thing for Saturday night's main event, but WWE kind of put themselves in a corner by the pacing of the show, by putting 5 matches on a 2-hour show with commercial breaks. There really was nowhere to place any like backstage segments, surprise returns, or any little interviews with legends or anything of the such. There was absolutely no time whatsoever. And I actually do hope that they change this about Saturday night's main event in the future. 4 matches and just give 15 minutes of fluff so that we can do more of the other traditional professional wrestling things like backstage segments and promos, etc. Rhea versus Liv has to end at Raw on Netflix. It has been disappointing, and I doubt anyone wants to see this dragged onto WrestleMania. I do think that we're at the logical conclusion of Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, and the reason why I believe that is that Liv Morgan didn't run away. Liv Morgan is ready for this fight. Liv Morgan is ready to stand tall to Rhea Ripley, and they cannot hold this off until WrestleMania. There's just no way. This is Raw Netflix. This could be the next Saturday night's main event, because this is at the end of January, if I'm remembering correctly, or at the Royal Rumble. There is just no way that I can think of logically that they could push this to WrestleMania without it feeling like it's being dragged out of existence. We would have gotten a much better show had the WWE went with 4 matches instead of 5. 5 matches in a 2-hour show with commercial breaks was not something that I'd like to see again. The pacing was too quick and ruined the viewing experience a little bit, in my opinion. Say 5+ match cards only for PLEs. Yeah, I would say that I would agree with this statement. I feel like had they brought down the match cards to 4, that they would have probably had the perfect show in terms of pacing, and they would have been able to supplement the show with extra things, whether it's longer matches or those extra segments that make professional wrestling special. You know, like I said, promos, backstage segments, etc. I would agree with you with this statement. I would say that I think the show would be made better in the future with 4 or 3 matches so that we have more time for the matches themselves to breathe, or just more room for other professional related things like promos and backstage segments. I am am willing to bet that WWE wanted to go a bit more all out with the wrestling aspect of this show because it was the first Saturday night's main event of this contract. I do believe that they should go back to the drawing board. I don't think that they should bring the same format again. It just wasn't conducive of a really tight, good, free-flowing wrestling show.
Sammy, run from the taser, Sammy.
Oh my God! Oh, dude, look at this. Good God.
Before, what a debut. What a debut.
That was a sneak peek of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, available exclusively on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week, we're looking at the ridiculous WrestleMania 38 match between Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville in an anything goes match. We're looking at a wild intergender match between Penta El Zero Miedo versus Io Sky in Lucha Underground. We're looking at the short but awesome match between Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe at Great Balls of Fire. What a dumb name for a show. We're also going to be watching the Big Boom AJ Costco guys match that he just had at AEW Full Gear's pre-show. And we're looking back at the debut of the Shield during the triple threat match at Survivor Series between John Cena, Ryback, and CM Punk. You're going to be getting these watch-alongs and more, like our Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days early, the currently ongoing Royal Rumble watch-alongs that we're doing, and the Undertaker WrestleMania match watch-alongs as well. Again, all of this is available exclusively on patreon.com. I'll put the link in the description, the link in the pinned comment. Come give it a try even for just 1 month, because I'm confident that you're going to fall in love with it. This is all content that just never gets uploaded to YouTube because we just simply can't. If you're already a patron, thank you so much for your support. It's the reason why I'm able to do this as much as I do. Thank you very much, and back to the video. This was genuinely too close for comfort. We are more than likely going to get another match between Cody and Kevin Owens, and if we do, I need some sort of stipulation added to the match. That pile driver was nasty. It was also kind of genius to write out Cody Rhodes from WWE TV in this manner, because they couldn't have Cody Rhodes or Kevin Owens on the upcoming episode of SmackDown that was pre-taped, because if they had either of them on the show, it would have spoiled the show. So this way, WWE can suspend Kevin Owens and WWE can write off Cody Rhodes for injury so that none of them had to appear on this upcoming episode of SmackDown. It's smart. But holy crap, that pile driver looked nasty. I love that they're doing this stuff off of screens, trying to create more of an organic reach with people filming with their phones rather than it being this produced thing, just like how they did at Backlash. No, not Backlash. Bad Blood, and that created so much conversation amongst wrestling fans, and this is doing the exact same thing. I'm kind of liking this formula personally. The show was definitely packed, even a little bit rushed, but it accomplished exactly what it needed to do. That being said, having zero Cena content feels like a massive whiff by the WWE. I was expecting Cena, I won't lie. As somebody that's come to grips with the fact that there was just no way to fit anything else aside from the 5 matches on this show, I still was waiting for John Cena to come out. I was expecting a really recognizable face to be in front of that many extra millions of eyeballs, to be put in front of those eyeballs, to keep those eyeballs on WWE programming beyond just Saturday night's main event. And I thought that Cena would have been a great ambassador for that, but there was just no room. This was easily the worst PLE of the year, unfortunately, with commercial breaks and the overall televised performative feel. It made the entire event fall flat for me, especially the main event. Not to mention that the best part of the ending was all off air. That doesn't help either. Well, the best part being off air was on purpose, just like it was for Bad Blood. It's to generate conversation, organic conversation amongst wrestling fans. Had it been on TV, it wouldn't be generating the conversations that it is right now, because that would have been performative TV. But it's tough to take what you're saying seriously when you start off your message by saying that this was the worst PLE of the year, when this wasn't a PLE. It was never meant to be a PLE. It was never advertised as a PLE. People knew that it wasn't the PLE. It wasn't even the length of a PLE. So if you went in with the expectations of this being a fucking PLE, of course it's going to fall flat for you. Of course you're going to be disappointed. You did that to yourself, dog. It was great to see the Winged Eagle back. Sad it only lasted for 1 night, but I could see it start a push to change the look for the WWE Undisputed Championship. God damn it, man, that title is a thing of beauty. And it was a title before my time. I never got to see the winged belt as part of my weekly WWE consumption of television, but holy shit, that title looked beautiful, and it looked great on Cody Rhodes as well. I hope that it comes back again, but I doubt that it's going to. I think that it's a 1 night thing. I love that Cody said, quote, "I'll win by any means necessary," and did exactly exactly that with using the chair that Kevin Owens was going to use. And dude, how good was Jesse the Body Ventura commentating on that, telling the world that Cody Rhodes is the heel? You see, Cody Rhodes is the one that cheated. But yeah, it goes well with the narrative of I'll do everything and necessary in order to win. It worked for me, and it does create that question of like, ooh, Cody Rhodes, maybe he does have that little bit of Homelander in him, that Homelander Cody Rhodes that so many people want to see. But this also sets up Kevin Owens to be able to justifiably come back and demand a rematch, which we probably are going to get based on how the match ended with the chair, based on the fact that Kevin Owens had the match won, and based on the fact that we had that giant beatdown between Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes and the fight between Kevin Owens and Triple H that happened off camera. Kevin Owens hitting Cody with the pile driver should have happened during the broadcast. It brings more excitement and worry if it was a live televised moment. I actually disagree. I don't think that it would have brought more excitement or worry if it was on live TV. I think the opposite. I feel like the fact that it was off of TV that makes it feel more real, more genuine, and more organic. And because it feels more real, I'm a little bit more concerned. Obviously, everyone is fine. I feel like if it happens on live TV, it's like, oh, this is what we were supposed to see. Meanwhile, when it happens with fan footage, it's like, ooh, this is taboo. We're not supposed to see this. And if we're not supposed to see this, maybe this wasn't supposed to happen. Like, at least that's how my brain works. Not gonna lie, I prefer Saturday night's main events to War Games. I think that the pace was a bit fast and would have hit better if there was just an extra half hour. But for me, it was a better show. You know what's funny? I also think that Saturday night's main event, even with the commercials, even with how fast paced it was, I still think that it was better than War Games. I think that it was a better, more cohesive show from beginning to end than War Games was. Jesse Ventura was great. Looking forward to seeing him again. Let me really emphasize this, okay? Jesse the Body Ventura, this was my first time like experiencing him as part of like my regular consumption as a wrestling fan because he was well before my time. He was fucking awesome. He brought such a funny old school nature to the broadcasting table. The feeling of like, hey, like, I'm here for the bad guy. I'm rooting for the bad guy. Regardless of how bad the bad guy is, I'm going to keep telling the fans that the bad guy is in the right. And it worked for me, dude. It was so funny, and it was such a different change of pace than what we typically get in 2024 commentary. I know that some people didn't like them, but he worked for me. I want to see him again for next Saturday night's main event. I thought he was great. Liv versus Io was a fantastic match, and it's just a shame that most of Liv's reign has just been subjected to Rhea title defenses. It would have been so much better if she got to showcase her improvement with more talent. So obviously I would never wish injury upon anybody, but let's go back to when they wrote off Rhea Ripley for what ended up just being a couple of weeks, that orbital fracture that Liv Morgan supposedly caused in the parking lot. Had they written off Rhea Ripley for longer, let's say until the Royal Rumble or Raw Netflix, we would have been able to get Liv Morgan with more people, getting more title defenses, and getting a title defense that feels like it can stand on its own 2 feet without the involvement of Rhea Ripley. And then once we got back to Rhea Ripley, it would have just been a far more intriguing match. So I agree with you. This is actually why I love the match with Io, why I love the ending with the match with Io. I love that Liv Morgan looked great because this is a win, a type of win, might I add, that she really, really needed to help further legitimize her championship reign. And I feel like they could have been doing more of this had they written off Rhea Ripley for a little bit longer. One of the best shows of the year. I do not understand the complaints about, quote, being a house show. It's not a PLE, but it very much felt important and with consistently great matches in the first ever USA champion. So I have been seeing this narrative quite a bit, that this was just a big glorified house show. And to a degree, even though I'm a fan of the show, to a degree, I totally get where you're coming from when you say that it's a glorified house show, because house shows are where fun, good matches happen that don't really have an impact on WWE narrative and TV. And you could make the argument of that with the Liv Morgan and Io Sky match. You can make the argument of that also for the men's triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. But all the other matches, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, as well as the inaugural match for the United States Championship for the women, as well as Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, all of those advanced plots and storylines. So it doesn't fully make sense to call this a glorified house show, but I want to see where you're coming from when people say that. But I don't personally agree. I think, again, it goes to the notion that the only way that this was a meaningful show is if title changes happen, if Ultimate Warrior comes back from the dead, if Triple H comes out of retirement, if CM Punk comes back from the WWE after 10 years. Expectations are too high. Sometimes we can just have a good grappling wrestling show, okay? Something about Cody with the Winged Eagle just feels right. I hope he introduces a modern version of it, like he did with the Intercontinental Championship back in the day. That's actually like a really, really good shout. I forgot that it was Cody Rhodes that brought back the white-strapped Intercontinental Championship belt. That's a good shout. I don't think that that's going to happen with the WWE Championship. Like merchandising and like keeping things on brand is so important for the WWE. And in the modern day era of WWE merchandising, the Winged Eagle doesn't do that, even though it's a better looking title. They like their giant W's, okay? Because it's easy to market. Dom should have costed Finn the match between him, Gunther, and Damian. I was fully expecting this to happen. I was expecting Dominic Mysterio to get himself involved in this match. However, I feel like WWE was trying to cater to the lowest common denominator at Saturday night's main event. They didn't want to overcomplicate things, which is why pretty much every match was just a clean finish. It didn't really have any crazy shenanigans in any of the matches. Even like the Chelsea Green, the shenanigans were super light and super basic. I feel like they just didn't want to complicate things for people that might have been watching wrestling for the first time, for people that were watching wrestling after a long hiatus and didn't know what the storylines were. Because think about this. Let's say you just are scrolling through TV, primetime NBC, you're like, holy shit, I haven't watched wrestling in 10 years. Let me turn this on. And you watch the triple threat match, and then this guy, Dominic Mysterio, that you know nothing about, that you have no context of, you don't know why he's doing the things that he's doing. If he were to get himself involved in the match, it would have been confusing for those people. So I do think that they were just trying to simplify things for the lowest common denominator, which is just more casual fans that were watching this particular WWE event. 1 down, 4 to go. Drew wants to take down the entire bloodline. Jimmy, Jay, Roman, and Solo? Yes, what we've coined here, all right, if you see it floating around, it started here. The bloodline bounty hunter Drew McIntyre arc is here, ladies and gentlemen. And he said 4 more to go. And I think he listed them: Jimmy, Jay, Roman, and Solo. Some people thought that it was going to be CM Punk, but I don't think that that's CM Punk. I think that this is a Drew McIntyre that is devoid of heel or face. He is just a dude that hates the bloodline, whether it's a bloodline member that's a heel or a bloodline member that's a face. He wants to end them. So I think that we're going to get this McIntyre that doesn't care whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. Your bloodline, you're dead to him. All right, folks, thanks so much for watching this episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, goodbye. All right, okay, get out of here.